Welcome to Community Partners Interview, where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make changes in our daily lives. I'm your host, Prateek, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio, all abilities, all the time. Today, I am joined by Matt Geraghty, the co-founder of Autism Resources Kawartha's Autism Resources Kawartha, ARK, is a local autism advocacy and awareness group committed to creating helpful, reliable content for you, the parents, caregivers, and loved ones of people with autism. ARK was founded by Matt and Meg, two local parents raising a child with autism in Kawartha Lakes. Through their own experiences, caring and advocating for an autistic child, they discovered the value of learning from the shared experiences of others. Hearing or reading about the successes and failures of other families can provide something that studios and research about autism cannot: validation, comfort, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today, Matt.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for the opportunity.
So tell us a bit more about yourself and what inspired you to co-found ARK. Why work with individuals with disabilities?
Yeah, sure. So, a little bit about me. I am married. I got married, I probably should know exactly when. 10 to 15 years ago. My wife and me, Meg, had a couple boys, Beckett and Foster, who are 10 and 8. At least I know their ages. I can't remember my anniversary, but I know my kids' ages at least. And I have a marketing business. I started probably about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago now. And I didn't really know anything about autism, people with disabilities, to be completely frank with you, until my son, Beckett, the older one, was diagnosed with autism back in October of 2022. I was completely overwhelmed at the time and kind of had a breakdown, I would say. I cried just immediately. I remember when the doctor had told us that was the diagnosis. And then I just bottled it up after that and didn't really think about it for a number of months. But of course, realized I need to handle it in some way for my own mental health and to be a better person, be a better dad, be a better all the things, right? And I started looking for resources locally. They were hard to find. They were few and far between also, like not many of them. There are tons and tons and tons of resources out there, which is sometimes good, but it can also be very overwhelming. And realized after a couple years of that diagnosis of how can I do something with my skills, basically, of my marketing background, my business background, my need or want to help people and try to like do good for others. And that's basically where Autism Resources Kawartha came from, of how can we take some of the things I think we're good at and start putting some stuff out there to help other people.
That's great. Thank you, Matt. One quick side question here. It's extremely sad to hear, and I can possibly feel how you might have felt. But in general, what was your understanding about autism before, by when you actually got to hear about it?
So my understanding of autism at that point was my nephew, so my
Oh,
wife's sister's youngest son
okay,
has autism,
okay.
and we see them a bit, not a ton. In the last couple of years, they moved somewhere else. So I didn't really know a whole lot about autism, other than I wasn't familiar with kids at that point, frankly. In my mid-20s, that's
Yeah.
a funny way to say it, not being familiar with kids, but I wasn't around a lot of kids at that point. But I just knew like this boy seems to have some challenges that his brother doesn't have, and that was my only real understanding of it. But then I have a vivid memory of when Beckett was diagnosed with autism, just the idea that he had a disability.
I see.
And that was extremely upsetting. And I don't think it's something that parents want to hear.
Sure.
And it just was extremely upsetting. Now, years later, my outlook on it is very different. It's much more positive, and I've come to learn that and grow and develop. But just that initial hearing, your son has a disability, your son is going to have different challenges, that was the hardest part for me. That was, his life is going to be harder than life already is, and that really hurts me. That still hurts me.
So sorry to hear. Well, while thank you for sharing that, Matt. So while doing my research, I saw on your website that you have a tab called resources and another one called support. What does under the resource and what is under the supports tab?
Good question. So when we started Autism Resources Kawartha, really didn't know what it was going to be, where it's going to go, and in so many ways still don't. It just was born out of a need for, here's, we want to help people, and I have certain skills. And we started with a lot of content, localized content. So yes, there's tons and tons and tons of information out there, but you don't know where you're getting it from. There'd be like a large nationwide type of autism community. It could be North America. It could be elsewhere. People want localized content, right? So that's where that idea came from. The resources were more around kind of going back to my original story of, I think we have a small handful of actual like downloadable resources that are congratulations, your loved one was diagnosed with, or your child was diagnosed with autism, so now what? And it gives people, it's a booklet basically that they can download. I'm trying not to use marketing words, but in my marketing world we would call it like an ebook, or like something like an ebook or a PDF, frankly, that people can download and read, and it just gives them a whole bunch of ideas as to where to go once their child or loved one's been diagnosed with autism. The other one came from I almost don't want my parents to listen to this. They probably won't, but it came from a visit I had with my parents where it became so frustrating to me to see how they were like, treating Beckett and not really understanding some of his needs and sensory issues, where they were like trying to get him to eat different stuff that he didn't want to eat, and trying to be compassionate. So like hugging and poking and prodding type of stuff, where I just was like, I got so frustrated and so mad, frankly, that I went home and put together like the framework for the other resource that we have, and I'm stalling a bit because I can't remember the exact name of it, and I should know better. I should have it up in front of me, but it's basically like a loved one's guide to autism. I didn't want to call it like a grandparent's guide to autism, but that's basically what it was. Like, frankly, like an older generation of, hey, we know you were raised a different way. We know you lived and grew up a different way, but like things are different now, and there's people out there that have different needs, and we have to accommodate, and you should be accommodating them. And if you love this person, you should read this guide to better understand them and help them so they can be more connected to you and all that stuff.
That's fantastic.
Thank you. So those two, those were the first two that we launched with, and then this past summer, there's so much content that we put out with blogs about autism, summer with autism. So the different sensory needs and issues there. So they're in blog format, but then we put together a lot of like pulled the blog summaries and put them into a booklet for that one as well. The difference between your original question, the resources that we have, and the support tab. So the resources are a lot of content in the way of blogs and downloadable booklets people can read on their own time. because I also found that there is a lot of great support out there. Sometimes that support doesn't come in ways that can facilitate or accommodate caregivers or parents, where I can't always go somewhere to meet people and talk about stuff. But if I can sit at home on my own time and read and learn about this, that helps me. So that's where those resources are. And then the support is more of like, how are some more tangible ways that we can help people? So I know up there's IEP support. We're no experts. I'm no doctor. My wife, like, we're not teachers. We have no experience with school boards, but we have experience advocating for our son in school. And we find that there's so many people out there, moms, dads, whoever, that are just have questions and they don't know what they're allowed to do and what they're allowed to say. And we can at least help talk to them and give them advice. And then also another big one, I think the thing that I'm probably most proud about with Autism Resources Kawartha right now is the sensory safe spaces that we've been doing with people at bigger events around town. The idea that we will often not go to events because we're scared. Sensory issues for Beckett and overwhelming and all that kind of stuff. But like, we still want to go to the events. But what we've been doing is helping event organizers and groups and businesses set up sensory safe spaces at their event so that we can go to the fair, we can go to street festivals, we can go to whatever is happening. Right now, it's, I don't know how evergreen you want me to speak, but like, it's around Christmas time. So there's Christmas events and we want to go to those, but we want to have a place that we can frankly escape and just relax for a minute, regroup, to avoid any sort of overwhelm and chaos, and be able to then go back into the event or head home when we're ready.
That's great. Could you talk to us a little bit more about the sensory safe space? I myself happen to have something similar to being sensory, very sensitive to a lot of different senses. So I would love to hear a little bit more of what was your
Yeah, for
end
sure.
product here.
Yeah, so we've done it, I want to say 4 or 5 times this year with people. We've never, one of them, people actually built something. Most of the time, it's okay, there's a room somewhere in the facility or near the event that people can go into. In the summertime, it's frankly, it's a room that's the lights are off or they're dimmed and there's air conditioning. So there's a great street festival up here in the summer called Classics on Kent. The middle of July. It's got to be like 40,000 degrees out. So that already is overstimulating for like my son, right? So the idea that we can go into this space and cool down and get away from the commotion and all the people, it's great. We did one at the Lindsay exhibition. There's a massive fair, frankly, in the fall that's up here. And they built, well, they had like an old barn and they built a room out of it, which was really cool. Where I first went in and I was a bit scared because like I don't want people to think we're like stuffing the people that have these needs in like small rooms or closets or whatever. And this room didn't look good at all. This barn, I'm like, this is gonna not come off well. But it's a step in the right direction at least, right? But then they blew me away with what they did, where they laid flooring, they drywalled the walls, they painted the walls,
Wow.
they put up art, they put in like air conditioning, and now it's a permanent fixture at that location, which is really cool. And then that's what we go and do. Another thing that we worked with a private school up here where they just called us in and they were like, well, what do we need in here? And I was very open, just kind of explained like, this is what you guys need, steered them in different directions. We actually like, it was cool because we were able to help them more tangibly too. Like we painted the room for them. They paid for everything, but we came in and like volunteered some time to just like paint this room, which was like way bigger than I thought it was going to be. It took a lot longer than I thought. And my son Beckett was like all gung ho to join us and be part of it. And then he didn't really do a whole lot.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, like the whole point of it is like getting these things started. Because I think once we start them, they'll keep rolling annually and it'll start growing. And I've been shocked by people's response because it's been so easy to do.
Fantastic.
I've reached out to the businesses, and they're just yes, right away. Yes, what do we need to do? I tell them, they take care of it. It's shockingly easy to me, and I think it's just a great. It's been a great lesson for me, and I've always kind of been this way where like, I'm going to ask and have someone say no versus not ask and not know the outcome. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, that's where all that sensory safe space has come from and what we've done there.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's move on. I also saw that you have a podcast. Can you tell us a little bit more about your podcast?
Yeah, sure. So as you can tell, I talk a lot, and it's come a long way actually. Where like I started my business years ago, I was not good on camera. I still am not good on camera, but I'm not good at talking, recording. People freeze often a lot, so I practiced that over the years, and then I actually worked with a friend to do a business podcast for a number of years, and we did an episode every single week for I forget how many years, but we had like 200 episodes in a row. So
Wow.
that was like 4 years, 3 or 4 years. And so we got to 200 episodes. Anyways, um, that kind of, I moved on from that in a way where I honestly don't really care to help other business owners. To me now, my focus is I want to help the autistic community and adjacent people like caregivers, loved ones, all that stuff, right?
Mm.
So again, from my I think skill set and abilities of like I know how to kind of piece this together. I know how to have conversations, facilitate conversations. I learned a little bit of some software stuff and some light editing and everything. But it was a matter of like, hey, I think this is interesting. To me, the conversations were interesting. I think other people will be interested in this. And again, it's all about content and creating that content localized. And it's a lot of work, as you can probably appreciate and you understand, but it's extremely fulfilling. And every other day, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's a ton of work. And then you get a comment online and like, that's so positive, and you're like, I can't stop this. I got to keep
Ah,
going, and it's very fulfilling. I've really enjoyed it to be able to share these experiences, and so much of it, it's almost counseling for me, where I get to sit there and talk to some other people that are diagnosed with autism, some people that their kids are diagnosed with autism. So for me, it's like therapeutic in a way, and I get to really enjoy and learning a lot of stuff because again, I'm no doctor, I'm no expert. I just like learning about it and talking about it in different ways because it makes me feel more normal and comfortable.
fantastic. That's great. Let's move on then. Are there any restrictions to the services at ARC, such as age, caregivers, or family members only, things of that nature?
No, because like right now, in so many ways, like we don't know we don't know what we're doing.
Mm.
And I laugh because when I started this, I have worked on other boards in the past and volunteered on other like board of directors and things like that. And I hated it, and I still hate it. And I don't like the bureaucracy of it. And I talked to a couple people about like, hey, can I just start doing something like this that we've talked about without registering as a charity and a nonprofit or a fund and all these different things? And then for tons of reasons, I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want things to get in my way. I don't want barriers. I don't want all this bureaucracy. So we started ARC, and it's like very grassroots. We're very transparent with what we do with the money, and it's all like every month we print bank statements and we put them on the website. But the idea right now is like we're just trying to figure it out, and like what does the community need? Is it this? Do we need more blogs? Do we need more booklets? Do we need more sensory spaces? Do we need more IEP support? I flirted a little bit with the idea of doing free marketing and free websites for people that can benefit the autistic community locally. So right now it's like you tell me what we need locally for this community and we'll figure it out. So very long, probably weird way to say no, there's no restrictions. It's just a matter of like and it's probably ambiguous to a lot of people that maybe like, want very clear rules and guidelines and structures. So I apologize for that, but we're still trying to figure it out and see where all this goes.
Fantastic. Well, without using any names, can you share a success story with me? What supports were put in place and when someone asked for help?
Sure. We've had a lot of success with I think I can share names because they were on the podcast, I'll say. So a
Okay.
woman named Natalie, who through her daughter's diagnosis recently of autism this year, I believe, recognized that she was autistic and got diagnosed or started to go through the process of it. And she's trying to figure all that stuff out. We've helped her a lot with IP support. My wife and her communicate quite often about things, maybe struggles or, hey, has this happened to you? What would you do in this case? We get a lot of comments about um, the resources, or no, sorry, the podcast that we do online, which is surprising to me because most people want to be super critical. And I have a story about that later, but if you want, but we get a lot of positive comments about I've never connected more with somebody, and hearing their stories made me feel better. You'll see some comments like that on YouTube. They're not me, I swear. But those again are the ones that make me keep going, and I think that's always like extremely exciting.
Well, what is the one thing you see happening over and over again to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be? And how do we stop it?
Ooh, I'm trying to think like how to articulate myself here.
Hannah?
The biggest thing that I see, and I think this might be maybe even darker. It might be a bit dark, but um, everybody says that they are there for people with disabilities. Everybody
Yes.
says that they want to help them. Everybody says that we're going to put up the support and we love people with disabilities and we're friends with people with disabilities and we want to be there. But the actions don't always reflect that. And that's extremely upsetting to me. Where we say one thing, but then if it gets too tough or it gets difficult, or the
Yeah.
person or people become a problem, quote problem, people can't see me, so I'm saying quote problem, um, then they get forgotten, then they get ignored, then they're a problem and they're not addressed, and people only start to care about themselves or their own organization or business. That's extremely upsetting, and I don't know if that was maybe the answer you wanted, but how do we fix that? I want to say I don't know, but actually I think it's more and more awareness of this stuff.
Agree, agree.
Yeah, and I think it's talking about it more. I think it's people like you and the organization that you are working for is helping that. And I think we need more voices for ability, pardon the pun. But like it just I think it's a lot more awareness and talking about it and normalizing it and taking that stigma away. And because there is still a stigma, right? And it
True.
just needs to be we need to normalize it more. And just that is normalized by talking about it more.
Agree. So, are there any events coming up for ARC?
Well, we have a sensory safe space tomorrow.
Oh,
And again, I don't know when this is going to be live, so I apologize. But tomorrow, I think, is Saturday, December the 6th,
yeah.
at Kawartha Conservation Area. It's an annual event, Christmas at Ken Reed. Really cool Hallmark type of magical Christmas event where it's all in a conservation area and woods and trails, and they light stuff up and there's Christmas decorations, and they bring all kinds of like vendors and stuff in, and it's really cool, really again magical event. But then over the years we found that we don't go to a lot of events, and because there's no place for us to escape or take a break. But we reached out to those people, and again, they they were super easy to work with. They were like, "Yes, if you want to come in and tell us what space you want." We're in there for like 5 minutes. We're like, this space works. They're like, great, it'll be all be set up for you. And people can go in there and it'll be marked and they can, again, enjoy everything going on at the event, but then head inside, warm up in like a nice little boardroom area. The rooms are not like full of extravagant fun things. It's not like a fun house or a play place or whatever, but it's just at this point too, a place to just come in, sit down, cool down or warm up, regroup. There's fidget toys in there for sure. But just the idea of like take a moment and like be able to enjoy everything that the world gives us, but still be able to accommodate ourselves. So that event's tomorrow, and that I think is the last one that I can think of for now until we start to see some more things happening next year. But then, of course, I'm hoping the cycle will continue where everywhere we've been this year, you can be sure that I'm going to be asking for us to come back, but I hope that they'll be asking us to come back. And I hope that those events continue to grow.
Yeah, right. Matt, I personally find this as very extremely beautifully put words together, sensory safe space. This is exactly what I keep telling a lot of my social people who look to invite me over to their place for an evening. I ask them for a quiet corner where I can quickly regroup, and I totally understand what is the requirement and how it is planned. But this is great idea to have this, and it's also a very effective way of making sure that the community at large gets to understand what are the requirements, and you're doing a fantastic job. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, and thanks for the kind words. And it really does mean a lot. Like it pulls at my heartstrings. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, if someone wanted to become a volunteer with ARC, what is the process for joining as a member or a volunteer?
Just reach out. So come to our website, autismresourceskawartha.com. You can Google us or come right to our website. Reach out via email, or I don't think we have a phone number on there, but reach out via email, or there's a form on there. We'd love to hear from you, whether it's, again, email, form, come to Facebook, Instagram, message us there, wherever you're comfortable. Tell us what you need from us, if it's content or resources or just want to talk to somebody or volunteer. We could use volunteers. We're starting to figure that out and how we can use them. We want to be able to, again, set up more of these sensory safe spaces. And I think we can help people by helping them kind of paint or lay some light flooring or something like that. We're not a construction company, but something like that.
That's great. Well, what is the one thing that everyone needs to know about ARC?
It's funny. I ask everybody at the end of my podcast, what's the one thing you want people to know about autism? And they always like start the same way, where they're hesitating. They don't know what exactly to say. And I feel the same thing. The one thing I want people to know about ARC is, at this point, that we exist.
Yeah.
That we have resources in Kawartha Lakes, and that we are truly trying to make Kawartha Lakes a better place for people with autism and the people that love them. This is year one. We're not 8 months into it. And that's what I want from this. I want people to know who we are, that we exist, and that we are, quote, open for business, in the sense of, what support do you need? Do you need more resources? Do you need IEP support? Do you need to have a conversation? What is it that you need? And then to please reach out, and we'd love to hear from you.
Great. So if listeners are looking for more information, how can they reach out to you?
Going to our website would be best. So www.autismresourceskawartha.com, or Google us, Autism Resources Kawartha. We'll be there. And then come to our website, email us, submit a form, or even, like I said, go to Facebook or Instagram and message us there. Whatever you're comfortable with.
That's fantastic. Well, Matt, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. I wanted to wish you and your young company all the success, and you're doing a wonderful job. I personally, if at all, happen to Go by Kawartha Lakes. I do go there every year, but I would like to jump in and pay a quick short visit and meet you in person. You seem like a wonderful person. I want to
Thank
wish
you.
you all the very best and happy holidays. Thank you so much for spending your time with us.
I loved it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that.
This was your host, Prateek Mohanty from Voices for Ability. Take care. Bye now.